Good morning from Chicago traders. It is 8:01 a.m. Chicago time on Thursday, the 22nd of April, 2021. This is episode number 1978. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. So, the pre-market summary sheet from Convergent Trading showing the market posture is neutral. It is neutral to negative, really, since this has printed. We're pretty much going sideways. The indices had rebounded after the sell-off 2 days ago. Came back to where we were. I guess the cat has something to say about this. There she goes. Sorry, guys and ladies. Anyway, the Euro stocks leading the pack up 25 points. Oh my gosh. I gave her the stare and she stopped. Anyway, the Euro stocks up 26 points, 0.66%. The DAX is up 81 points or 0.53%. Europe's definitely ahead of the US in terms of the indices gaining. The Russell is now down one tick. The laggard today is silver. May silver is trading at $26.40 or 0.73% down. Gold is off. Gold's trading 1784 down $9 or down 0.5%. The S&P is just lingering at a down 2.75% or 0.07. So you can see that really the indices did not pull back from the strong finish yesterday, basically lingering at the upper end of the range. And so that's where we stand. You could see that the Ether ETH has increased in value while Bitcoin, after it's a little bit of selling that it got, is sitting sideways at 55,000. Across the board, it just seems like a mixed bag today. Copper pretty much unchanged. The notes and the bonds pretty much unchanged, and so on and so forth. So that's where we stand today. We've traded 148,000 contracts in the S&P now, and we still have inventory at about 66% long. The profile's completely balanced. We're right on top of the overnight point of control, the full session mid and full session VWAP completely balanced, 13 and a half points, 13 and a half points. So far, the point of control at 41.61. That's where we stand. In terms of earnings, we've gotten all our earnings before market. SAP announced, Valero, American Airlines, Blackstone Group. We have Seagate after the close. Seagate Q3 expected at $1.32. Some surprises, some disappointments pre-markets. The disappointments were not that far off, actually. SAP really earnings came in really strong, $1.69 versus $1.13. So that's where that stands. In terms of figures, we got we did get the initial claims came in at 547,000, a big improvement over the forecast of 695,000. The job picture is looking better and better as we move along. And then we do get consumer confidence out of the Eurozone at 10 Eastern today, expecting negative 12 in existing home sales, and GfK consumer confidence this evening, which is a key figure for Great Britain. So that's where all that stands. So let's take a look at what was expected yesterday. When I pause the video, I've always got a funny expression on my face. The primary scenario. So if you remember the sell-off day, this sell-off day here, it was the secondary scenario. Well, actually, in this case, it was the primary scenario that played out. Here, it was the secondary. Yesterday was the secondary scenario that played out. The primary was a push up into 31. I expected it to break towards 31 and then fall off and then continue lower. And it did not do that. Instead, we chopped around. We never tested the overnight low. We chopped around and then we took off, exceeding the 41, and then we basically went back to the singles up here at 66, which was the next key figure up after the 48 was the 66, 67, and that's what it did. So we ended up pushing higher contrary to the one time framing down, ending the one time framing down, a very strong indication for today, that the bulls are back. We saw strong delta. Here's what yesterday looked like. Now, I know this looks a little bit busy, but everything on here has a meaning. So you could see that we had this consolidation here at the opening swing at 23, which happened to be the overnight point of control, I think. And overall, it consolidated there. There were several attempts to go lower, several attempts here that failed, and it suddenly broke out. There was a nice little setup here at 2150. Didn't really see it till 25 for a push to 31 right here. This is the first key target, 31. And then beyond there, as you saw on this piece here, 31, 35, 41, 48, and 66 were the key numbers. So this is so 41, 35 right in here, 46 right above here, and then so on and so forth. And we ended up with 66. We went to 70, 67 and a quarter. Pretty wide IB yesterday, but broken to the upside. And note that the delta was moving with price for a change. The prices appear to have moved low enough for buyers to be brought in. Again, this was a very strong rotation here, 16 and a quarter points without an 11 tick pullback. Before an 11 tick pullback, more accurately. And the profile yesterday shows what? What does this profile show? What does it show when it's like this? It shows that there is no consensus on price and active price discovery. When it puts in a high volume node and it puts in another high volume node, another high volume node, another high volume node, high volume node, high volume node, high volume node, it means that it's an active price discovery. It is trending. It is not a market you'd want to fade. So the focus yesterday, especially in the head trader channel at Convergent, is not to short this thing. Not to short this thing. Shorts are very, very tight scalps, and with a wide IB like this, having been broken to the upside, it's further indication that you don't want to short this. So, very simple a very simple return to where we came from. So here's where we came from, folks. In the overnight session, we pushed into the 66, 67, which was the all-time high back here. All-time high right here. You could see reactions at this level throughout. Here, pull back right there, push, pull, push, push, and then again push in the overnight session. So this is an important stock zone here, an important area. And what we've done is we've dipped down and we have come back up in a bigger picture. This is basically just a corrective pullback with some really good volume on the buy side on yesterday's close, and the overnight session not moving off of this high. It leads us to believe that we are likely to continue higher. The one time framing on the weekly is intact. Remember, it was at 4106. it remains intact, and then one time framing on the daily went from negative to neutral now. So today, it's important for buyers to continue to push higher. So here's the composite, nice little. We put in a high, nice little pullback here. One time framing down. The weekly still maintains its low, and then we put in a higher low and a higher high, breaking the one time framing down. And we moved away from this 23 area. And remember, yesterday I said when it moves from the 23, the next target up becomes the 48, the 48, 31, 48 up here was the big target yesterday. Of course, it ran through, it went to 67, but overall, just a pretty orderly auction. And isn't it nice not to have tons of surprise news throughout the session? And the market can move under its own power and has all of the data available to it. No secret arguments or fights or deals or tweets or whatever. So this is how it's supposed to operate. The auction went deep enough to test this prior balance, attempted to push lower, could not breach the weekly low, and then buyers stepped in. And buyers started stepping in. I commented on this on Tuesday afternoon, right after the sell-off. That pop higher had a lot of gusto behind it. So we could see the buyers in an excess there already. It finished right on top of the 41.23 on Tuesday, and so it was relatively strong. And then it was a matter of the first 15 minutes before it popped through, and we have this very large push higher. Very large push higher, bringing us to the upper distribution. So right now we have what is a completely overlapping set of profiles on top of each other. And you could see that the high volume node, the two key areas are the point of control down below at 21.23 and this high volume node where we are now. So unless we get trapped in here today, which is quite possible, unless we get trapped in here, it is very likely to continue to push higher and to tackle that 8350 on its way up to 4200. We're remaining well ahead of on the buy side. We're remaining well ahead of any of the typical measures, the 20 SMA, the 50 SMA down here, the 200. It's just well ahead of it, and we are basically flagging near the top of the all-time high trend. So I don't see a huge argument. And I remember walking by in the office, walking by the lounge and seeing CNBC on Tuesday, and there's a lot of discussion of, okay, the Nasdaq's getting heavy, we're seeing a topping pattern, this is it, blah. And it's just like, dude, it has not moved away from the high at all. It has dropped 70 points from the high. That is nothing. The thing has run up a couple thousand points. Chill. Just a lot of hype there. I don't think the rallying is over. This carries us into today's session. Again, 154,000 traded. It's remaining in the upper distribution of yesterday, so mostly it is it's likely to continue higher. Let's take a look at the heat map for a second. The heat map overall shows 4170 having some size, and the that size, however, it does not have large blocks in it. You could see these are smaller large blocks within that offer. There's really no real large blocks until 4175, and this has been here for days. This large block sitting here at the front of the offer at 4175. This looks legit to me. This is the magnet, the next magnet up if we continue higher. So if you're long, you're gonna want to consider scaling out something ahead of the 4175. This is a fair warning to you. a fair warning to you. Let's cut the political talk. My comments were not political, they're on market action and the auction itself. Down below us, what's on the bid? The bid shows 4150, but again, not a large block. This may or may not hold. This may consolidate as it comes in here. But what I've noticed is when you look at the MBO data that's provided here in Edge Pro X, when it's choppy or the large blocks that are on the back end, this is not likely to trade. So you can see these large blocks here showing up on the back end. They're not likely to trade. They're likely to melt away as the market comes up to these prices. And so as we go down to find where the next big area is, we see 4150, but again, there's likely to be a fight here, but I don't believe this is going to stick around. The only solid size on here is 4175 currently in the heat map. So this is where that stands. When we look at the order flow and the map of the order flow, it's a big consolidation soup here. You can see that it's quite consolidated. We've been trading back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So expect that to carry into the overnight session. Let's take a look at what's expected for today. Just adjusting the chart here. Okay, so expectations for today. Expectations for today, an open auction, expecting some response towards the overnight point of control down at 4161. Consolidation, I'm looking for it to take out the overnight stat by pushing the 67. The 67 again has seen multiple tests, expecting a spike through here, expecting it to spike through, pull back, and I'm looking for it to migrate over to 4172 into 75, consolidate at the 75. Why the 75? You recall the 75 is a stock zone plus a large offer up there. Remember, there's an offer up here at the 75, expecting it to come, expecting the market to move to size and push through and then consolidate in this area. That would be the most important target. So entries at 65 to 61, looking for 75 as an exit on the runner. That's the main plan for today. The secondary scenario is an open auction again, looking for a push through 67 into 70, consolidate up here, come back, having put in a new high, come back, chop around, and rest inside of yesterday's range as it pauses. Okay, there's not much that's a catalyst for us here for in terms of planned events. Friday tomorrow doesn't have very much on it either. We have some numbers coming out on Friday, but nothing major. So I'm looking for this to kind of take out the high and consolidate sideways on scenario 2. The more likely play is a push to 75. 75 has been offered, well offered for days. That offer has been sitting there for days. I'm looking for that to attract price with the trend. That's all I have for you. Good luck today, and I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Convergent traders, we do have a mindset tune-up about making the turn today. That's at 1 p.m. Eastern. Look in your email for the invitation to that. I'll catch you in that session. Take care.